Good morning. Happy Sabbath. Yeah. Welcome to church. We're going to start our song service with Joy of the Lord. Please sing with us.
My Good morning, everybody. This is Sadie. She's not for sale. Unless, of course, you're 1 or younger, in which case, Zion, Luke, you have to wait 15 years and pay 5,000 cows, 3,000 sheep. Too cheap. Higher? 8,000? 8,000. 8,000 of every domesticated wildlife. I'll go with that. Now, I'm not just here to talk about my baby. I'm here to welcome you to Epic Church this morning, the hippest, coolest church this side of the Red Deer River. Thank you for joining us today for worship. Just a few announcements. Bathrooms in the back, if this is your first time, they're just straight out that door. And there are 2 for women, 1 for men, because women are more awesome. It's like, what is he going to say? Offering, we have a giving station in the back there. Today's offering is for Alberta Advance, but we also have online giving if that suits your financial needs more. April 7th is a pretty exciting day. It's the day we become a church. So if you've been coming here regularly, you haven't been going to church for a couple of years. So congrats. Yeah, we're very excited about that. We officially become a church. And the week after, April 14th, is when we kick off our small groups. I think they're called Epic Tribes here. And we're looking forward to doing that as well. And then after church today, or after whatever you call this right now, after the service today, we're going to have Soup Kitchen. So we're going to go over there and serve the community at the Soup Kitchen. So that'll be at 3:30 after church. So I'm going to hand the mic back to the band. Everybody say, hi, Sadie. Hi, Sadie. All right, thank you. Oh, we should sing happy birthday. Yeah, let's make it super awkward. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sir Juan. Happy birthday to you. Tomorrow. We're all meeting back tomorrow to sing for Jody.
You guys could stand with me for our next song.
Take my voice. Is this on? Can you guys hear me? Is that okay? Good. Anyways, for those of you guys who don't know, my name is James, and
Hi, James.
hey. Today, I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be basing my talk today off of Acts 9 verses 1 to 18, and it basically talks about Saul and like how he's all angry, and then he gets into an encounter with God, and then God gives him a mission. Basically. And the main idea, if you guys fall asleep throughout it, the main idea is who is God speaking, who is God using to speak into your life today, and to look out for those people in your life. Okay, before we start, let's have a word of prayer. Okay. Dear God, thank you for today and this opportunity for us to come here, praise your name, and share a little bit of what we know. I ask that you really let my words be few and do a perfect thing with imperfect things like me. Amen. Okay, for those of you guys who don't know, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a context for who Saul actually is. Is there anything that you guys ever been 100% all in for? Well, Saul was one of those people. Saul is someone who grew up of Hebrew ancestry, which means both of his parents were Hebrew, and his parents were both fervent Pharisees who were actually strict in following the law of Moses. So you could say that they were conservative in some sense. Saul trained for and mastered Jewish history, the Psalms, and the prophets. Saul actually succeeded with almost everything that he put his mind to. For example, Saul actually goes on to become a member of the Sanhedrin, which is basically the Jewish Supreme Court, which is in charge of the religion and their way of life for the Jewish people. However, it's Saul's zeal that guides him down the path of religious extremism. See, as Saul grows rage towards any Christian because he believed that the Christian's way of life, those who were a part of the early church and believed in Jesus, were threatening his belief system, his thought of what he thought Judaism was. And as he grew his rage towards them, he actually went down to the high priest and he got letters to approve for him to go capture any Christians that he saw, to capture them, imprison them, and usually kill them. So as Saul was on his way out of Jerusalem, this was actually one of the first times that the early Christians were actually persecuted outside of Jerusalem. So anyways, Saul was on his way out towards Damascus. That's where he was ultimately headed. And on his way there, he was struck by a light that blinded him and brought him to his knees and onto the ground, and it surrounded him. He was like, wait, what's happening here? So anyways, he's ready to capture these Christians, but then God stops him and puts this light around him, and he fell to the ground, and God was telling him, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? And you see, when God calls your name twice in the Bible, it usually means that he wants your attention, and he is actually acknowledging you on a personal level. Examples of this is Samuel and as well as Moses. It's a common thing in the Bible to get someone's attention by calling their name twice. So Saul asks, who are you, Lord? And Jesus says, I am Jesus, the one whom you are persecuting. Scared and afraid and almost speechless, Saul tells him, well, what do you want me to do? And so then Jesus tells him, now get up, go into the city, and you will be told what you must do. So the story of Saul is a story of redemption in Jesus, and a testimony to the fact that nobody is too far gone from the grace of God. See, as we see from the text, God actually gives Saul the first part of his mission, go into the city. You see, Saul had a concrete plan before. He knew, he had it all laid out in his mind, what he had to do in regards to persecuting the Christians, and how to get there. He had everything so sure in his mind until God came into play. You see, and here God gives Saul an incomplete instruction. He just says, go into the city. You see, God is the only one who sees the complete mission, and we're only given a piece of that. We're asked to trust God until the next step, despite not knowing what may happen. Have you guys ever been given incomplete instructions and asked to trust them despite not knowing what comes next? Many of us have our own plans and goals, but God is the one who rules them all, if we allow him. Personally, I can relate to the story of Saul because for me, almost for about 6 years now, my mom has been burdened with a rare disease called progressive supranuclear palsy. I know it's a mouthful. But essentially, it's a brain disease that eats away at your nerve cells, and it deteriorates your muscle systems, your ability to balance, and your ability to swallow as well. And progressive means that as time goes on, it slowly and slowly gets worse with no cure in line so far. And the fact is it's been hard, and like not even to mention how hard it's been for my mom, but the fact is that God blessed the choice that I was impressed to make to come here, and has since then asked me to trust him with every mission, big or small, that he's given me. And it's been for the longest time my natural inclination to turn towards blaming God for every single thing that goes wrong in my life in regards to mom and everything that results of that. But ever since I've come here and I've taken into account this story and thought about the different people that God is using to speak into my life to bring healing, support, and guidance, I've learned to stop turning towards blame on God and learn to start taking what I've been given and trust him while moving forward. So as the story continues on, you see that Ananias is a disciple who's already in Damascus at the time, and God comes to him in a vision in the middle of sleep. He wakes up, and then he's like, Ananias. And he's like, wait, what? Yes, Lord, yes. And then God is like, so I have this guy. His name is Saul. And then Ananias was like, wait. You're talking about the Saul I've heard about who's persecuting Christians and taking them as captive and killing them? And then God's like, yeah, that's the one. And then he was like, wait, I can't do that. He's killing the people who are calling you by name, following you with their life and committing their life to you. And he's like, don't worry about that. I've changed his life, and I've made him my own instrument. And Ananias was like, okay. He was hesitant at first, but God commanded him. And what are you going to do when you're commanded by God, right? So Ananias goes to where God tells him to meet Saul. And Saul's there. Because of the light, he was stricken with blindness. Saul goes up to him. I think he's at the Judas's house in Damascus. But anyways, he comes towards him. He puts his hand on, so pretend this is Saul, and I'm Ananias. So he puts his hand on Saul, and he's like, hey, my brother. And then Saul's like, he was blind, so he couldn't see him. But he turned around, and then he put his hand on his face, and then instantly, like scales off of a chameleon. Do chameleons have scales? But anyways, like scales, they fall off of his eyes, and he begins to see again. So instantaneously, you can see that God, because of what God commanded Ananias, God brought healing, support, and guidance into his life. And just like how Saul needed Ananias in that point in time, we need each other as a community of God to bring healing, guidance, and support to one another. Now, I want to leave you with this. What mission is God calling you into right now, whether it's big or small? Insignificant in your eyes is significant in his. And who is God using to speak into your life right now? For me personally, in my decision to coming here, there was a couple of different people who were influencing my life, who helped guide me into the path that I've gone to today. Whether it's positive or negative experiences, I'm here right now speaking to you. Anyways, that's all I've got. I ran through it a lot faster than I thought of. Anyways, let's have a word of prayer. Dear God, thank you for actually really making my words be few. And I ask that out of everything that I've said, that someone takes something away from all that I've said, all the mambling and mumbling, and that you have been seen today instead of me. Pray these things in your name. Amen.
guys could stand with me again.
Who is like you, Lord, in all the earth? Matchless love and beauty, endless worth. When nothing in this world can satisfy. Jesus, you're the cup that won't run dry. Your presence is heaven to me. Your presence
next part, you have to take your chairs to the next room because there aren't chairs there. So your meal ticket is taking up your chair and carrying it to the next room so you actually have somewhere to sit. So we're going to have soup and buns in the next room. You could still